Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ryan Knuppel here, Knup Sports Show, episode 214. Hope you're all doing very well. We're recording this on a Thursday. We are in full swing with tons of sports. My guest and I were just talking about how October is an amazing time for sports, and I'm sure we're going to dive into that a little bit here when we start chatting. But man, World Series getting kicked off here. NBA started, NHL started, NFL's going, college football's going, college basketball's kicking off next month. It's like, whoa, we are in a great time for sports if you're a sports fan. Well, I appreciate you tuning into this show, giving us some support. We've really enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to many of you at G2E and look forward to meeting some of you next week, actually, in Miami at the SBC Latino American event. Hopefully we'll meet some of you in person there. Make sure you say hello if you are there. All right, that's enough intro stuff. Let's dive into the guts today. Let's bring on our guest. Today we have none other than Megan Lanham. Megan, how are you? You doing well today?
Great. Oh, Ryan, I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. As you pointed out right when you came on camera with me, man, October is a great time for sports, isn't it?
It's the best. This is like the air starts to crisp for those of us in those areas, and just every sport just starts to emerge, and your weeks are filled. So yeah, I love this time of year. Dating back to when I coached ball and played ball, just like this is the time of year.
That's amazing. Same with me. Like through the summer, I get a little, I wouldn't even use the word depressed because I'm obviously not depressed, but I get sports depressed, right?
Yes.
I'm like,
oh yeah,
I love baseball, but I'm like, oh my gosh, is this all we got? When is football starting? And then once football starts, you're like, holy crap, now there's a lot going on. And it's like overwhelming as a sports person. But anyway, well, Megan, I want to learn about you and what you're up to with Rithmm. But first off, tell us about yourself, your background, your history. Just give us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, first, thanks for having me. Well, I mean, like you mentioned, I grew up in a small town in Illinois, town of 900, Sheffield, Illinois, and played ball in college. Went on to coach basketball, Division I for like over a decade. Then I decided to leave the basketball world and go into like what people would consider traditional business. And from there, joined a startup in the life science recruiting industry and helped build that company. Wasn't the founder, but was a joiner. Helped build that company. Sold it to a private equity firm, 2017. Then I became the CEO of that company, and then we built a conglomerate, and we sold that company a year ago, roughly a year or so ago. And then here I am now with startup with Rithmm, which we can get into. But that's just a brief, former athlete. Always an athlete, and have really run all my businesses that like an athlete.
Hey, I love that. And basketball in your blood. I'm a basketball person as well. And I think, that's one thing that gets overlooked a lot of times is, there's a lot that you can learn from being an athlete and being in sports. There's a lot of that can carry over into business. Especially as an entrepreneur, there's just different lessons, different things you learn through your sports career that, I always made sure to take over and carry over. And it sounds like you kind of had the same principles and same things carry over as well.
Oh, 100%. When I left basketball, the worry was, what's my life going to be like? I've always been on campus. I've always been, that's all I ever knew, right? I went from playing right into coaching. And what was fascinating was then transitioning. It was so easy because you just literally take your skills. You've been around a lot of people. You figure out how people move. You're resilient. Like you know the ebbs and flows. All of those things just really start to pour out. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, this is actually easier than coaching. That was quite a revelation.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into Rithmm. I know you mentioned it there, but for those listening that may not know what Rithmm is, why don't you give us a high level overview of what the app is and what you're up to?
Yeah. So Rithmm was founded. I went to MIT when I was the CEO of the other company. I thought I needed more analytical training, so applied to MIT to get into their business program, the MBA program. And during my time at MIT, I was in a predictive models class, data decisions, in modeling class. And I just became fascinated with how using predictive models within the company I was in and with my classmates, just how accurate we were able to predict outcomes. And I literally stopped in class and I started thinking about, wow, who's doing this in sports betting? I started to dabble in sports betting when I left coaching and was doing a lot of NBA betting and just as a men's college basketball betting, and fell in love with it. And was using kind of my coaching instincts and data to kind of make my picks. But when I saw this predictive modeling tool that we were doing at MIT, I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if I could take what I know in basketball, input it into this predictive model, then have it recommend bets? And that's what Rithmm does. So I took that idea and thought, okay, obviously I did research and like, oh, this is what all the sharps are doing. The pros, they have a team of quants and data engineers, and they're doing this. However, data is hard to find. Data is expensive. There's not every run-of-the-mill quant you can find. And having your Excel spreadsheets just seemed like a really nerdy thing to do on a weekend or what. And to keep track of all this, like there's just no way, right? For a casual bettor, a recreational bettor, even a kind of quasi a sharp, it's just hard to do.
Yeah.
So Rithmm we've developed Rithmm. It's an app, it's a platform, it's web-based as well, but we're on Apple and Android. Basically, we've taken all the predictive modeling, we put it on the back end, and on the front end, the user, you take your instincts, you input those instincts, and within less than a minute, you have a recommended picks for tonight's game or the whole week's game. Then that's just the short of it. And then obviously there's alt lines. We have player injuries. We could take players out and have your model update. But the overview is that if you want to make smart betting decisions and you're not a quant, how do you get quant-like modeling without having to do the work? And so we removed the barrier, created Rithmm, and this is where we are today.
Amazing. That's amazing. That's a great background, and thank you for sharing that. It's crazy how, ideas start from just something you heard in class, right? And all of a sudden it translates into a business, and now you're off and running with a business. You said something there that I think, you said one word in there that I think may relate to the types of models you're building. You said use your instincts.
Yeah.
That I think probably expand on that. Use your instincts, because a lot of people I think are trying to use trends and numbers and things like all of that, but instincts. Explain what you meant by that.
Yeah. So this is how we think of it, right? Is that okay? If you played, if you coached, if you're a fan and you're sitting there watching games all the time, you got hunches, call them instincts, or just your thought process, and you're like, hey, I think a high offense team, high tempo team, that those things are important to me. I wonder if I could make a model with those type of attributes. What would happen? Where would that model find games that have those teams that could help cover or help hit them, help me win my bets, whatever type of bets I'm making. That's what we did. So it's twofold. So we have a premium and a core version. Core version is the more simplified version. So what our quants have done, they have taken like for basketball, they've broken it down into 5 categories. Okay. Offense, defense, tempo, fouls, and 3-pointers. All the user has to do is look at those factors and slide a bar. We need you to weight the importance of those factors. So if you're like, again, I think high tempo and high offense are critical, then what will happen is we'll take that, combine it with our algorithm. Within less than a minute, you're going to have a model, and it's going to share with you, here's where that model exists, what games that model exists, and it will recommend a bet or it will give you a caution sign. So it also helps you with like, stay away from that. Your model doesn't exist. What is happening? There's something on the market. It doesn't like it. Stay away. Or it'll give you a green star. It'll say, here's where your model exists. And then real quick, we have a premium tier where if users want to go in and say, you know what, I don't want to take these prefabricated factors that the quants made.
Wow.
I want to make my own.
Yeah.
But I also want your algorithm So I want you to run it through a predictive model. So for me, I love I like that version because I get to go in and take all of my knowledge instincts and say, you know what? I think red zone conversions are important. I think third down conversions. I think teams that rush the quarterback are important. Things in that nature, you get to plug those in, create your own model, and then obviously same thing. Within less than a minute, you're going to have that one takes a little bit longer because there's just so much that goes into it. You're going to have a whole host of here are the recommended bets.
That's amazing. Yeah, that was the one thing that stood out to me when I downloaded the app and I played around with it a little bit. It was very easy to create a model because it was, the sliding bars. I didn't have to overthink how much do I weigh this and all. It was just like, I think this is important, a little more than this, a little more than that. And all of a sudden it's like, this is actually, when I'm thinking about making a bet, this is kind of the stuff I'm thinking about, right? And that's what you're saying is the point and kind of the backbone of why you guys created Rithmm. But it makes a lot of sense because we all have our mind works in different ways in how we think about a bet. And so, a really cool idea and really, I think different than some people have approached it. Talk a little bit about, from a business side, where you're at. Where are you at in life cycle of the business of the app?
So we beta tested for a year. So last year we launched college football, men's basketball, a March Madness bracket generator. That was awesome. We launched NBA at the end of a little bit later after March Madness. So not a ton of NBA. And then we launched the WNBA this summer. Those were all beta testing. Those are all core. We had not launched our premium version that I mentioned, where you can go into the statistical library and grab your own stats. So where we are to date is we launched officially a subscription paid version. We're out of beta mode, and we launched NFL as well. So we came out, kind of what I call like swinging. Like we got NFL working. So we have obviously core and premium version ready for NFL. What's cool about the NFL is if you're a premium member, you get to go in and adjust. So like Brock Purdy, right? Rumor is he's going to be out. What does that do for your model? Everybody that was one of the pieces where when we were building this, a lot of our users for the whole beta year were like, hey, in the pros, like, what do we do when a player drops? How does that affect your model? And so our quants got in there and figured out a way to keep obviously players that, would be heavily determine an outcome. And so things like that, you can go in there and say, take Brock Purdy out. What would the model do? So with where we are, we've launched, we have, if you go to Rithmm, you'll get 14 days free trial. You'll get to, we want you to use it. It's a process. It's not a one-hit wonder. You need to get into the kind of the rhythm of it, right? And we have NFL, college football. We just launched an NBA last night, which was awesome. And we have men's college basketball coming in like 2 weeks.
Because we all know, as you said, March Madness is the best time of the year. We love March Madness.
Well, it was so cool. So we decided to do this. God, it was wild last year. We were like, hey, wouldn't it be awesome if we could take the model? So if a user, you can build 3 models. What if those 3 models could actually generate a bracket? We did it last year. Now this was like beta, like, can it work? Because the lines aren't available. And it worked. And so what I mean by it worked, so we had over 3,000 beta testers. So 3,000 brackets were created. And we had 7 of those brackets picked that Final Four. Which, if you remember, that Final Four was unprecedented. That was a crazy Final Four. And we had brackets that picked the 2 Princeton wins, and we had brackets that did pick UConn. And I think 46 brackets had UConn win. So it was so we're super psyched that we're going to be able to do that again. And then also with all these in-season tournaments that the NBA is coming out with, things in that nature, we can take that tech that we built for March Madness and repurpose it for other tournaments.
So who is Rithmm for? You mentioned a couple, I guess, buckets of bettors. You mentioned the beginners and the sharps and all the above. Is Rithmm truly designed to be for any type of bettor, or are you guys really targeting a certain, I guess, for lack of better words, bucket of bettors?
So Rithmm's we are targeting people that are already betting. So we're not trying to go out and grab the market of fans that have never placed a bet. Not doing that. we want you to come in with some form of, hey, I asked my buddy, who does he have? Who do they have tonight? Or I'm doing some research online, or I'm buying some picks. Those people that are doing that, Rithmm is for those people. Yeah. If you're getting like exhausted with research, so I would say recreational to sharps, those are who, and then we have a whole host of people that are scraping data and have some type of modeling that they're doing. They are using, the higher version because they like to see if there's some model agreement. But I mean, at the very simplest form, this was built for recreational bettors and with the premium tier for people that want to get more data. I will tell you, like, my parents are in their 70s and my mom loves basketball, and she uses Rithmm and has performed very well. So she's 75. I'm like, she has figured it out.
Yeah.
So we've tried to personalize it. We've tried to make the core version, as simple enough, but also we can't lose. I mean, the tech on the backside and the minds on the backside are just out of this world. So.
That's amazing. And we'll talk about the future of Rithmm here in a bit, but I want to talk more higher level, the future of tech and the future of AI, with AI and all this stuff coming. I'm fascinated and actually I geek out over, how we can use tech to improve our life, because I truly believe it can help us be more efficient in anything we're doing. Right. This being help you make better sports picks. But talk about what that future looks like, because it's always evolving and always progressing. And with all the AI stuff going on now, what's the future of this all look like from a very macro level?
Yeah. The way that we're looking at it, so we are launching, we use AI right now, obviously, with our algorithm, the predictive models, right? So we're using that. And then we want to take a step further and give our users more access. So we are launching what we call Rithmm AI, which is a bot essentially. And what we're trying to do with AI is really, like you said, make your life more efficient. So it's like this. So you could ask it anything you want about sports betting, and it will answer questions for you. It won't just be Rithmm based. Well, we're doing that too, obviously. That's that's the easy play. But then the next play would be like, I got tired of having to go around. So I have Rithmm, but then there's times I want to also see, like, how did this team do last week? Or some other preliminary research, right? I was sick and tired of going around trying to find all this data. So what we're doing now is launching where it's like on our site, you can go there. It's all sports betting. And then we're going to take it a step further and we're going to use AI so like, let's say you're using Rithmm. We're going to spit out AI will basically look at how you're betting and spit out all of the metrics, but then also make suggestions and recommendations and really personalize it for you. And then also the goal will be next is to help you then say, hey, based on everything that you've done, here are bets that really speak to you. And then, almost like think of it like Spotify essentially, where it's recommending something that's more personalized to you. So there's, and it's the goal here is, like you said, is using AI to make things more efficient and not complicated. Like we gotta, So that's where we're headed, is really personalizing this more for the user.
I love it. What's it been like starting a business? So let's talk a little bit more on the business side. Give us some of your experiences as a founder, CEO, everything. I'm sure you wear all the hats, but give us some of your experiences and challenges maybe that you went through over the last year or so when creating Rithmm.
Yeah. So this stuff is hard. So I'm not going to sit here and say you've got to really have thick skin when you're building a company. There are highs and lows, and there are things that you're trying to see around the corner, and you're also learning on it with like a fire hose coming at you. So you are literally you're on 24/7 because of the amount of learning that's coming at you and the amount of information that's coming at you. And then, like you said, you're wearing multiple hats. You're fundraising. You're doing customer you're having customer conversations and interviews. You're thinking marketing. You're trying to talk to influencers to share with them Rithmm. I'm doing project management for our engineering team. So you're wearing all these hats. You're learning at an incredible level of information coming in, and you need to make clear decisions and concise decisions with the data that you have. So it's a lot. I love it. There are days that are really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful I was an athlete, because I always go back to, hey, when I when I coached at Indiana State, we took over a team with like 50 fans that came to the game. And I remember thinking, like, how are we going to like pack this place? How are we going to do this? This seems daunting, but we did it. And like, I go back to those days and I say, okay, it's a one day at a time thing. It's a strategy, but it's like, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
We've been learning, we keep that. You just got to keep the action high, and you got to weave in learning, and you're going to get to success.
It's great advice. Great advice. Megan Lanham, Rithmm, doing some great things in the industry. Megan, I know you're busy, so I don't want to keep you too long here, but I have a couple other questions for you. So for people watching that, I don't know, we get a lot of like people in the sports betting industry that are other leaders, other business owners, people doing all sorts of cool things in this industry. What's one need or one ask, not even an ask, what's a need you have right now? Like, what are you looking for that maybe somebody listening could potentially help you get there faster? What would that be currently?
I mean, I can tell you what we're looking for right now. That would be really great. We are looking to give people like yourself, any type of content provider, we're giving them access to Rithmm free, premium version, where you can take that, weave it into your show, and have content that's easily deliverable. And so if there's anyone out there that wants access to this, like, get in touch with me. We can just do kind of a trade. And it's free, and go for it. And then we can talk later about how to partner further. That's one thing that I would say is, let's do something together. That we have a lot of sports analysts and things in that nature that are reaching out, wanting access, and we are happy to give it. Number two, if you're a sports tech startup, like, reach out to me. There's so many tools out there. I think there's a path to kind of work. There's a path to working together. We don't need to go into like acquisition or merger. There's a path to hitching together and doing something great. So I'm talking to certainly I'm having conversations with multiple sports tech startups, but if you're one of them, like, give me a call. That would be that. We have player props coming. So right now we're traditional betting. Yep. Player props are coming. That opens up a whole host of an entire new market. And so we want to jump on that. We want to make sure we're partnering with the right people for this next level of Rithmm.
I love that. A couple of things you said there really resonated with me, especially. Let's work together and we'll figure out the details later. Something like that. I love that mindset, because a lot of times you get stuck in this, like, well, what do I get out of it? And what do you get out of it? And we don't know yet. Like, let's work together and then we'll figure all that out. Like, I don't know.
No, that is exactly where I'm at. And I even err even further of just, I mean, maybe you do too. I mean, we both were raised in the Midwest, just like, hey, handshake it out. Let's get this going. And we'll like, we're good people. We'll deal with that later. And that's how I've functioned in my life. And it's worked out very well.
Yep. That's amazing. That's awesome. You mentioned getting a hold of you. How would people get a hold of you? What's the best channel? What's the best avenue to reach you if they wanted?
Well, super easy. You can just reach out to me via email. So it's my first name, MEGAN @Rithmm, RITHMM.com. Yep. So that's the easiest way. Just shoot me a note and we can do something.
Awesome. I'll make sure to put that email out in the show notes. That way people can copy it and get a hold of you.
Please.
Megan, if somebody wanted to get the app, how do they get that? Where do they go? Is it shoot out the details?
Very easy. You go on Apple, you can go on Google Play, you can even go to web. If you go on Apple, you just type in Rithmm, RITHMM, or you same thing on Google, and there you have it. You can download it. we've been really proud of ourselves that we got this out on 3 different platforms to make it, to give the users everything that they need.
Yeah, that's not an easy task to make happen. So congrats
on that. It is not. That's a whole nother show. Oh,
it's like a series of steps. That's a good checklist. You got that done. Good job.
Oh, yeah. Going through Apple reviews is, that's fun.
Always something. That's for sure. Well, Megan, I'm going to let you go. Any last words? Anything we missed? Anything you wanted to say to the audience before we let you go here?
I would just say, like, try it out. It's 14 days free. This gives you time to build your models, to track your bets. There's a performance tab on there that shows you, hey, this model's performing at this level. Here's your ROI. Here's your win rate. Here's where it really works. Maybe it's really working on the money line. Your other model's really working on the spread. Try it out. It is not for a, hey, 1 week situation. Like, this is what I'm hoping people see is, like, let's change this, like, way of betting of, like, oh, just emotionally just hitting, like, hey, I'm putting 25 down on this game. This is a process. It's a fun process as long as you have data behind it, and give us a try.
Awesome. Megan Lanham of Rithmm. Megan, really appreciate your time today. I look forward to seeing your app succeed, and looking forward to having you on a year down the road and getting an update.
Ryan, thank you so much.
All right. Take care, Megan. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, that was Megan Lanham of Rithmm. What a awesome app. We all need help sports betting, no matter what you think. You need a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance. So make sure you go check out that app. I played around with it, thought it was pretty cool. I'm going to keep it in my arsenal of tools that I use. So really cool stuff. Appreciate you tuning in here today. If you got some value out of this, please let me know in the comments of whatever channel you're watching this at. I look forward to reading those every single time. Again, I'll be at SBC Latino America this coming week. So if you're going to be there, please shoot me a message on LinkedIn, Ryan Knuppel at KNUP, out on all the socials. You can find me. All right. That's it for today. Until next time, stay safe. Talk to you soon. Enjoy this great sports season. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.